Ever found yourself stressed out because of a difficult coworker? It's a common challenge we all face, isn't it? That one person in the office who seems to have the uncanny ability to press all the wrong buttons. It can be a significant hurdle, affecting not only our work productivity, but also our personal stress levels. Imagine the burden of carrying this stress day in and day out. It can be draining, can't it? But hold on, there's a silver lining to this cloud. Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has been around for over 2,000 years. Stoicism teaches us to maintain our composure and handle difficult situations with grace. It offers insights and practical wisdom that can help us navigate the rough seas of workplace politics and interpersonal conflicts. So you might be wondering, how can Stoicism help me deal with my difficult coworker? Well, what if I told you that there are Stoic practices that can help you deal with such coworkers? Tip number 1. Acceptance. It's a fundamental Stoic principle. Acceptance in the context of Stoicism isn't about passive resignation or indifference, but rather a proactive understanding of reality. It's about acknowledging the truth of the world around us and recognizing the limits of our control. Let's take a moment to delve deeper into this concept. Imagine you're playing a game of chess. You can strategize, predict, and plan your moves meticulously, but you cannot control how your opponent plays. It's the same with dealing with difficult coworkers. You can't control their actions, their attitudes, or their behaviors. You can only control your reaction to them. This is where acceptance comes into play. Acceptance is about acknowledging that difficult people exist in every workplace. They are a part of the landscape, just like the office furniture or the coffee machine, and just like those inanimate objects, you can't change them. The only thing you can change is your perspective and your response to them. Let's illustrate this with an example. Suppose you have a coworker who consistently interrupts you during meetings. You've asked them politely to stop, but to no avail. Rather than letting this behavior stress you out or disrupt your focus, you can choose to accept it as a part of this person's nature. You can't change them, but you can change how you react. You can choose not to let it bother you, or you can choose to address it in a different way. Acceptance in this case can help reduce your stress, because you're no longer fighting against something you cannot control. But it's important to note that acceptance does not mean toleration. Accepting the existence of difficult people doesn't mean that you should tolerate inappropriate or disrespectful behavior. It simply means understanding that these people exist and that you can't change them. The power lies in your hands to control your reactions, not in trying to control others' actions. So remember, acceptance isn't about giving in, it's about realizing where your power truly lies. Acceptance does not mean toleration. It's about understanding that you can only control your reactions, not others' actions. Scene script. Moving on to tip number 2, control your responses, another crucial Stoic practice. Now let's delve into the art of response control. It's a cornerstone of Stoicism, and it's all about understanding that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it. This principle applies perfectly when dealing with difficult coworkers. Imagine you're in a meeting, and a coworker interrupts you, undermining your points. It's easy to react with frustration, isn't it? But let's look at this from a Stoic perspective. The coworker's behavior is external, it's beyond your control. However, your response to their behavior, that's entirely within your control. So, how should you respond? Stoicism advises us to respond with calm and composure. This doesn't mean you should allow others to walk all over you. Instead, it means responding in a way that maintains your dignity and peace of mind. You could calmly state, "I appreciate your input, but I'd like to finish my point before we move on." In this way, you're not allowing the coworker's behavior to disrupt your inner peace. Let's consider another scenario. A coworker consistently misses deadlines, causing you extra stress. You can't control their work habits, but you can control your response. Instead of getting angry, you could approach them diplomatically, express your concern, and suggest ways to improve the situation. Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to choose our responses. We can choose not to be affected by a coworker's difficult behavior. We can choose to maintain our inner peace and composure. We can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values. You see, it's not the actions of others that disturb us, but our reactions to them. By mastering your responses, you're empowering yourself. You're not allowing external factors to dictate your peace of mind, you're maintaining your control. Remember, your power lies in your response, not in others' behavior. So, the next time you face a challenging situation at work, remember this Stoic tip: control your responses, it's your power, use it wisely. Tip number 3, seek understanding. This one might surprise you. In the realm of Stoic philosophy, seeking understanding is a pivotal practice. Far too often, we make assumptions about the actions or motivations of others without truly understanding their perspective. This can lead to unnecessary conflict and misunderstanding. When dealing with difficult coworkers, it is crucial that we make an effort to understand their viewpoint, their motivations, and their circumstances. Let's consider an example. Imagine you have a coworker who consistently misses deadlines, causing a domino effect of delays on your projects. Your initial reaction might be frustration or even anger. But let's apply the Stoic practice of seeking understanding. Could it be that they're struggling with an overwhelming workload? Or perhaps they're dealing with personal issues that are affecting their performance? By seeking to understand their perspective, you can more effectively address the issue. Perhaps you could offer support, or suggest ways to manage the workload better. It might even be the case that they were unaware of the impact their actions were having on the team, and your understanding approach could lead to a constructive conversation and a solution. But here's an important point to remember: seeking understanding does not mean you're expected to agree with their actions or behaviors. Not at all. It simply means you're taking the time to see the full picture, to get a grasp of the context in which they're operating. It's about seeing beyond the surface level and not letting knee-jerk reactions guide your responses. In the words of Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. So, next time you find yourself dealing with a challenging coworker, take a moment to listen, to understand, and to view the situation from their perspective. Remember, understanding is not about excusing poor behavior or accepting less than you deserve. It's about fostering empathy, facilitating communication, and ultimately, creating a more harmonious work environment. Understanding does not mean agreeing. It's about seeing the full picture. Our 4th tip, practice detachment, is a powerful Stoic tool. In our everyday lives, especially at work, we often find ourselves drawn into emotional whirlwinds. They can be in the form of disagreements, office politics, or simply a coworker's negative attitude. Here's where the Stoic practice of detachment comes into play. Detachment in Stoicism doesn't mean indifference or lack of care. It's about not allowing ourselves to be emotionally entangled or consumed by external events or people's actions. It's about maintaining our peace of mind amidst the chaos. Imagine you're in a boat, gently sailing on a river. The river's current is strong, the waves are high, but you remain calm. You're not trying to control the river, but you're steering your boat, making sure it doesn't capsize. That's detachment. The same principle applies to the workplace. You can't control how your coworkers behave, but you can control how you react to them. If a coworker is constantly negative, instead of allowing their negativity to affect your mood, you detach. You acknowledge their behavior without letting it disturb your inner peace. Think of it this way. You're like a rock in a storm. The wind howls, the rain beats down, but you remain unmoved, unshaken. You observe without getting swept up in the storm. Remember, our reactions are our own. We can choose to respond calmly with understanding, or we can let our emotions run wild. The choice is ours. Detach yourself from the drama and you'll find peace. And finally, tip number 5, maintain your inner peace, the ultimate Stoic goal. Now this one might sound a bit ethereal, but it's easier than you think. Inner peace, in the lens of Stoicism, is about preserving tranquility of mind, regardless of external circumstances. It's the mental fortress that protects you from the storms of life, including those difficult coworkers. Think of it this way. Imagine your inner peace as a serene lake, untouched by the winds of drama, gossip, or negativity. No matter how strong those winds blow, the surface of your lake remains calm and undisturbed. Difficult coworkers are just like those winds. They can cause waves, but only if you let them. Let's consider an example. Suppose a coworker constantly undermines your ideas during meetings. It's easy to feel frustrated, isn't it? But remember, you have the power to maintain your inner peace. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a deep breath and remind yourself that their behavior reflects on them, not you. Your worth is not determined by their approval or disapproval. This kind of mindset shift doesn't happen overnight, of course. It's a skill, one that requires practice and patience. But with time, you'll find that maintaining your inner peace becomes second nature. You'll become more resilient, more focused, and less affected by the actions of others. No matter how chaotic the outside world is, keep your inner world peaceful. After all, Your peace of mind is a treasure too precious to surrender to anyone else. So those were the 5 Stoic tips on dealing with difficult coworkers. Let's quickly recap. First, acceptance. Recognize that you can't change others, but you can change your reaction to them. Second, control your responses. Remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters. Third, seek understanding. Try to understand why your coworker behaves the way they do. Fourth, practice detachment. Don't let your happiness depend on someone else's actions. And fifth, maintain your inner peace. No matter how challenging the situation, remember to keep your tranquility intact. Applying these Stoic principles in the workplace can transform your experience, turning challenges into opportunities for growth. I encourage you to give these tips a try. You might be surprised at how they can change your perspective and improve your professional relationships. Remember, you have the power to maintain your peace, even in the face of difficult coworkers. Till next time, keep your Stoic spirit alive.